Hi, thank you for joining me today at Enjoy Life in Your 50s. Today I will be making an Easter bun. I am doing a practice session because Easter is coming up, and when I make it, I want it to taste good. So I thought I would do a few practice sessions in advance of that, just so that I can work out any of the mistakes and kinks, things like that, because I've not made one in a very long time. This will be the recipe or cookbook that I will be using to make this Easter bun by Enid Donaldson, The Real Taste of Jamaica. So let's get going. Now I have prepped some of the ingredients in advance just so that I'm able to go through this a little bit faster. It calls for 3 cups of flour, there we go, 4 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now it does call for 2 cups of brown sugar, but I find that it ends up being sweeter than I like. So I've used 1 cup, 1 1/4 cup of sugar I have ready. This is the melted butter, which is 1 tablespoon of melted butter. And it does call for 1 egg, which I have here, 1 egg, and then 1 cup of milk or wine. I will be using wine, but again, totally up to you, your taste. And it calls for 1 cup of raisins. Now, I do not like when I bite into things and it has whole raisins in it. So I will be chopping this. You can, use it do it in the big one. I will be using my little mini chopper to chop that up before I add it. You could also chop some of it and leave some of the raisins whole if you prefer to do that. Now, I also have my raisins, they've been soaking in wine for a couple of months. I do this normally, just for the flavor. You can soak wine, you can soak currants, and there's all sorts of the fruit in the wine, and the mixture that you use also, because sometimes it's wine alone, or it could be wine with, I've done it with wine with Jamaican rum, where it's soaked, but normally I just do it with the wine, because I'm not quite sure what I might be using it for, and who might be having some of it, so I don't generally like to do it with the rum as well, but these have been soaking in wine for a nice long time, and you can see they look very, very juicy. I will make cookies as well and use these wine-soaked raisins, but as I said, I do blend them. It does require, the recipe calls for 1 teaspoon of lime juice, which I will add, and a pinch of salt. So now we're going to beat the egg. So we'll do that, put that over there, the eggs in here, get that going. So we'll get that in there. Oh, for goodness sake. See, now I already messed up. Did I not say beat the egg? Where is beating the egg in that? This is the butter. Ah, the struggle. Okay, so, see, so mistake number 1, but that's all right. So we're going to beat the egg. And I know some people, it's perfectly fine. I like taking this out just because I like to. So that takes care of that. I'm just gonna wash my hands off there. And so now we're going mistake number 2, because I did put it in here, but obviously I can't beat it in that. It's too tiny. I meant to put it in this bowl. So, well, we're doing well, but hey. So, okay, so we're going to do this. Beat the egg, right, and get that. I do enjoy baking, and I do like trying to make new things, but sometimes I find I have not put a lot of time into doing it, and I enjoy doing it. And one of the things I decided when I turned 50 was that I was going to start spending a lot more time doing things that I enjoyed. Because by the end of the year, when, the year's finished and you look back on it, you don't turn around and say, wow, I wish I had cleaned this up more, or that kind of thing. You just want the quality of life. I just wanted to have a better quality of life, and I found I was spending a lot of time doing a lot of other things, and it is not like at the end of the year I was like, It was not like, at the end of the year, I did not say, oh, I really wish I spent more time working on those other tasks, projects. Instead, it was, do not feel like I really spent enough time enjoying my life. And this is one of the things that I wanted to change in my 50s, to start baking more, to start cooking things that I like to cook and enjoy cooking, trying new recipes, learning how to make new things. So I have made this before. I made it once. I made it the first time, and I have made this before, and I really do like how it tastes. However, the gaps between me making it were so long. I've only actually made it twice, and okay, so never mind that. So it is now 250, beat egg, sugar, and melted butter. So it is saying to beat now the egg, the sugar, and the melted butter. So because I already had the melted butter there, I will just add the egg to that. Put that there, catch those drips. Get rid of that. Add the sugar. Yep, and I'm not quite sure the rest of the sugar. Got that going there. We'll just do that. Now the funny thing is I do not have my glasses on, so I'm trying to see the recipe book, which is not that far in front of me, but I'm squinting to try to see it. So here we go, the creaming. Now after I do this, egg chouai, the batter, and then I need to add that 1 cup of wine. So I'm going to pour that in there now. Get that going. Get that going. So we see that we have that. Nice color change right there already. I am now going to, so we've blended that up. As I mentioned before, I'm putting my raisins into my chopper. Okay, there's a lot of juice in there as well. I do want to chop my raisins, but I don't want the juice started pouring in. So I'm just going to use my bench scraper and block that and pour that lovely, well, the one raisin made it in there, that's okay. Pour that out, so then I can add it in here. Okay, now, there we go. There it is, a little bit. We are going to add the liquid ingredient. So I'm just beating it until it's smooth. I have combined my dry ingredients with my liquid ingredients. You don't want to have lumps and bubbles of dry ingredients, because when you bake it and then you go to eat it, you end up with these powdered, floury sections, and it does not taste all that great. I do really like the color. I do know that sometimes people will add a browning to their bun if they want the color to be darker. I don't actually like the flavoring that comes from that, especially if it gets too strong. And I find that this color is, I'm quite pleased with this. Now, when it bakes out, it may be still a lot lighter than I want, and I kind of have a feeling it might be a bit lighter than I want it to be when it's baked, but I would rather bake it without the browning and see what we get. And then if I decide I would like it to be a little browner, then I can consider next time adding more color to it. The raisins have not gone in yet, so it's still missing that. So here are the raisins, scooping those in there, and that will affect, the color as well. So we're just adding those in there. I'm just wondering why my oven, the preheat, has not beeped. One moment. Okay, no, it's on. Guess it's okay. There. Now this is very thick. This is very, very thick. Very thick, very thick. This is very thick. So we have it so you can see it from that. I'm combining the ingredients. So there we go with that. This is clean, you don't want to mess with that. Now I will be using, I was planning to use, I was trying to decide whether I wanted to use the metal pan or a glass one. And so I'm here, but I think I'm going to go with the glass one this time. And then the next time I do one, we will see what happens. Make sure that you get that nice and evenly coated. If you, it makes it a lot easier when you are ready to remove your bun or any baked good from your bakeware. Here we go. Make sure that you can see. So there we go. Just pour that in there. Now it is thick, and see, this is the thing. It's actually quite thick, and it is going to rise. And I was thinking about how much I might have from, you know, how much I might have it. You know what I'm going to do? I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyways. Okay, now the reason I'm going to do this is because it is going to take a considerably longer time to bake if I do it only in the way I normally would in the one dish. So these buns are not going to be very high, but they're going to bake a little more quickly for me. I do just have to show you this because I did make a mistake, and I'm going to tell you I made a mistake. I'm taking it out again, which is a pain, but you know, this is life, and this is how some of this stuff happens. I'm so busy doing this and doing that and trying to make sure this is done and that is done. I just realized. So let's get that back in there. Let's get this stuff in here that I forgot to put in. Do that, spread it out. I will clean up the sides because, you know, I did what I did. Do this, get it poured into there, which I will work this out next time so that I have an angle or a view so that you can see this a little more easily. But here we go. I messed this up here. I just want to give it a clean off a bit because otherwise this will be sitting up there and it will start to burn, and no one wants that. So I'm just cleaning that off just a little bit so that I'm unlikely to have that burning happening up there. As soon as your bun is completed, then make a glaze using 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup water. Boil it until it's nice and thick, stirring it as you go along so it cooks down, and then spread it on the bun and pop it back in the oven for about 5 minutes. Now you do want to make sure that you glaze it, completely glaze the top, but then once you pop it back in the oven for the 5 minutes, please don't leave it longer than that. Take it out and then you are ready. Let it cool. So I am really glad that I did it so that I will be enjoying my own Easter bun this Easter. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you had a great time. See you soon.